Russia moves hypersonic missiles closer to NATO. Through Belarus, Russia appears to be quietly shifting some of its most powerful weapons closer to NATO's borders, and it's doing so through Belarus. New satellite imagery analyzed by Western researchers suggests that a former Soviet-era military airbase in eastern Belarus is being transformed into a launch site for Russia's latest nuclear-capable hypersonic missiles. If confirmed, this would mark a major escalation: Russian strategic missiles stationed permanently outside Russian territory. The findings, first reported by Reuters, are raising serious concerns across Europe and NATO capitals. What was once an abandoned Cold War relic may now be becoming a forward operating base for one of the most dangerous weapons in Russia's arsenal. The location in question is a long-disused military airfield near the town of Krychev. For decades, the site sat dormant, overgrown and forgotten, with no apparent strategic value. But recent satellite images tell a very different story. Analysts examining the imagery say the pace and nature of construction strongly suggest a mission far more serious than routine renovation. The changes visible from space are significant. New concrete platforms have been poured at the end of the former runway. Roads leading into the base have been widened and reinforced. Several structures appear partially buried and covered with earth, an approach commonly used to protect sensitive military assets from aerial surveillance or attack. Notably absent are any signs that the base is being prepared for aircraft operations. Even more revealing is the construction of a rail transfer facility directly connected to the site. According to defense experts cited by Reuters, this type of rail infrastructure is specifically designed to move large missile components by train. This is a hallmark of mobile missile units, not air bases. Taken together, these features strongly indicate that the site is being repurposed for missile deployment. And before we continue, if you find this analysis useful, make sure to hit the like button. It really helps support the channel. The missile system believed to be headed for Belarus is Russia's Oreshnik hypersonic intermediate-range ballistic missile. Western analysts describe it as one of the most advanced weapons Russia currently possesses. Capable of traveling at speeds exceeding Mach 10, Oreshnik can cover distances of up to 3,400 miles. From launch positions inside Belarus, that range places nearly all of Europe within reach. Major NATO air bases, command centers, logistics hubs, and critical infrastructure could all be targeted within minutes. But it's not just the missile's speed or distance that worries military planners. It's the uncertainty surrounding it. Oreshnik is designed to carry either conventional or nuclear warheads. Once launched, there is no reliable way for defenders to determine which type of payload it carries. This ambiguity is deeply destabilizing. Any detected launch could be interpreted as a nuclear strike, forcing decision-makers to respond under extreme time pressure with incomplete information. Analysts warn that this dramatically increases the risk of escalation driven not by intent, but by miscalculation. In such scenarios, minutes matter. A conventional strike could be mistaken for a nuclear one, potentially triggering a catastrophic chain reaction. This concern is not theoretical. In late 2024, Russia test-fired an Oreshnik missile during the war in Ukraine, striking an industrial site in the city of Dnipro. Video footage analyzed by Reuters and the Associated Press showed multiple impact points, consistent with a multi-warhead configuration. Russian officials publicly praised the strike, emphasizing that the missile was impossible to intercept using current Western air defense systems. The message was clear, and it wasn't aimed at Ukraine alone. President Vladimir Putin reinforced that message in televised remarks, describing Oreshnik as effectively unstoppable. He claimed the missile could deliver strategic-level destruction even without a nuclear warhead. Defense experts interviewed by Reuters noted that these statements were part of a broader effort to signal strength to NATO at a time when Russia's conventional military performance has struggled. Satellite analysts now believe the Khrushchev site could initially support around 3 mobile missile launchers, but that may only be the beginning. Reuters later reported statements from Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko indicating that up to 10 Oreshnik missiles could eventually be deployed on Belarusian territory. Belarusian military experts have since explained that this number aligns with the minimum required to form a full missile regiment. That strongly suggests the Khrushchev base is just the first phase of a larger deployment plan. Despite the mounting evidence, Belarusian officials insist the move is defensive. The country's defense minister has stated that hosting Oreshnik missiles does not alter the balance of power in Europe. He framed the deployment as a response to NATO pressure and emphasized that Belarus has no intention of launching attacks. But deterrence is a double-edged sword. As analysts quoted by Reuters point out, stationing nuclear-capable hypersonic missiles in Belarus fundamentally changes the country's role in any potential conflict. It transforms Belarus into a forward base for Russian strategic forces, and that makes it a priority target in the event of escalation. It also marks a significant reversal of post-Cold War norms. For decades, efforts were made to keep nuclear weapons out of former Soviet republics. This deployment effectively dismantles that approach. From Moscow's perspective, the move offers several strategic advantages. It shortens missile flight times to European targets. It complicates NATO's defense planning. And it reinforces Russia's nuclear signaling at a moment when its conventional forces are under sustained pressure in Ukraine. Reuters' analysis suggests that as battlefield breakthroughs have proven elusive, the Kremlin has increasingly leaned on nuclear rhetoric and strategic weapons to maintain leverage. Forward-deploying hypersonic missiles sends a clear message. Russia still possesses tools capable of reshaping the conflict far beyond Ukraine. The timing of this deployment adds another layer of concern. It comes as the New START Treaty, the last remaining nuclear arms control agreement between the United States and Russia, approaches expiration in early 2026. Once it expires, there will be no binding limits on the world's 2 largest nuclear arsenals for the first time in decades. Arms control experts warn that this could open the door to a new arms race. Deploying nuclear-capable missiles in Belarus just months before that deadline underscores how rapidly the post-Cold War arms control framework is unraveling. Publicly, Western governments have responded cautiously, declining to offer detailed comment. Privately, however, the concern is clear. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has confirmed that Kyiv is closely monitoring the situation. In recent remarks, he stated that Ukraine understands where the missiles are likely being based and is sharing intelligence with allied nations, particularly those in Eastern Europe, that would be most directly threatened. For NATO, the immediate military balance may not change overnight. Russia already has the ability to strike European targets from within its own territory. But as analysts repeatedly emphasize, the political and psychological impact of forward deployment is significant. Shorter warning times, increased ambiguity, and heightened nuclear signaling all raise the risk of rapid escalation. Europe is entering a security environment where mistakes carry far greater consequences. This development is not just about one missile system or one airbase. It reflects a broader shift driven by the war in Ukraine, one where arms control agreements are weakening, strategic weapons are moving closer to borders, and the margin for error is shrinking. Every move is justified as defensive. Every response is framed as necessary. Yet, collectively, they push Europe closer to a confrontation that no side openly claims to want. Russia's likely deployment of Oreshnik missiles in Belarus is a warning sign. It signals deeper reliance on nuclear deterrence, a willingness to forward deploy strategic weapons, and an intent to challenge NATO at the level of escalation itself. The question is no longer whether Europe's security environment has changed. It already has. The real question now is whether global powers can slow this trajectory, or whether this marks another step toward a far more dangerous era. Thanks for watching.